Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Christ. And I thought it would be a good idea after the last video to dissect Psalm even more and move forward into the Psalms and look at all of them, because they're wonderful stories, they're wonderful songs, they're wonderful parables. They're all amazing, right? And they all have a deeper meaning that a lot of people can't understand, that need to dissect it a little bit more. So today I was looking through and trying to find a good one, and I found one that really stood out to me a long time ago. And honestly, I forgot that this one was in here, but this stood out to me because it was exactly where I was for so long, and I think it's where a lot of people are and are stuck in between trying to get to Christianity but not understanding kind of why to even do it, because when they do it, they seem to not have a good life and they feel like they have a better life without it. So it's going to be Psalm 73, and we're going to read the whole psalm because it's all so good and it all connects together so well. So this might be a little bit longer, but bear with me here because it's good. Let's start in verse 1. It says, "Truly God is good to Israel, to those whose hearts are pure. But as for me, I almost lost my footing. My feet were slipping, and I was almost gone. For I envied the proud when I saw them prosper despite their wickedness. They seem to live such painless lives. Their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. They are not plagued with problems like everyone else. They wear pride like a jeweled necklace and clothe themselves with cruelty." Let's stop it there, right? That's right after verse 6. I had this exact same point of view, right? I would ask this question so many times to so many different people, so many different mentors of, well, why do these people get to do that? Why do these people get to be able to have all this stuff? And then, of course, I don't, I'm choosing the right. I'm a Christian. I'm choosing God, but why don't I have all this stuff? But they do, and they're not. They're envying God, and they're pushing him to the side. Why do they get stuff, and why do I not get it, I was so confused, and I still, to this day, don't have a clear answer for it, right? I don't understand. But this psalm does have a pretty clear answer for what it is. Let's get into it in a second. So start back in verse 7. It says, "These fat cats have everything their hearts could ever wish for." I love that verse. Love that verse. "These fat cats have everything their hearts could ever wish for." Verse 8, "They scoff and speak only evil in their pride. They seek to crush others. They boast against the very heavens, and their words strut throughout the earth. And so the people are dismayed and confused, drinking in all their words. What does God know?" they ask. "Does the Most High even know what's happening? Look at these wicked people, enjoying a life of ease while their riches multiply." One that stood out to me there was, does the Most High even know what's happening? And I feel like a lot of people ask that. Also, a lot of people will question God when they don't know. They'll be like, well, why is all this happening to these kids? Why are all these kids put in the hospital? Why is this happening to all these young people, Why are all these people getting injured? Why are these people hurt? Why isn't God doing something about this, Does he even know what's happening? Like, I'm doing all this right now, but does God even know what's happening? Do I even need to be watching what I'm doing? Does God even know that this is what I'm doing right now? Maybe I can just get away with it. God doesn't know what's happening. He's not watching right now, and it's so evil, right? And then we'll pick up in verse 13. It says, "Did I keep my heart pure for nothing? Did I keep myself innocent for no reason? I get nothing but trouble all day long. Every morning brings me pain." I think that one stood out to me a lot as well, because I felt like that's what I was doing. I felt like I was working towards nothing, right? Did I keep my heart pure for nothing? Did I keep myself innocent for no reason? Like, did I do this stuff for no reason? I'm not seeing any result. I'm not even getting anything from this, but they seem to be getting a lot from not doing this, right? So maybe I should just not do the whole God thing anymore, the whole Christian thing. Maybe I should just not do it, And that's where I was for a while, because I didn't see a reason, I didn't see what I was working towards. I didn't know what I was working towards. I just saw, I'm not getting what these people are getting, but they seem to not choose God and still get stuff. So why do I choose God and then not get stuff, And I was so confused. But right here, we're about to get into the answer of what it was, right? So in verse 15, it says, "If I had really spoken this way to others, I would have been a traitor to your people. So I tried to understand why the wicked prosper. But what a difficult task it is. Then I went into your sanctuary, O God, and I finally understood the destiny of the wicked. Truly you put them on a slippery path and send them sliding over the cliff to destruction. In an instant they are destroyed, completely swept away by terrors. When you arise, O Lord, you will laugh at their silly ideas as a person laughs at dreams in the morning." There's your answer right there, right? God put them on a slippery path and send them over the cliff to destruction, right? It's what happens, right? He tests you, right? He tests all of us, tests our faith. It happens in the Bible several times with Gideon. It's test of faith, right? He gives you something, and then you try and test him back. That's not how it works. God's going to test us, and we have to show our faith and show whether we can handle it or not, right? With little comes more. And so he gives us those chances to have little and see what happens. And when sometimes you have too much, like you get that little, and then you think you can just own the whole world, you run away with stuff. And I think that's what it's referring to with the slippery path and sliding over that cliff of destruction, is you get too into it to where, let's say it's an addiction to like drugs or something. You get way too into that, right? Way too into that. And then you're on that slippery path and you're just gone, right? You cannot handle anything, right? So the second you get the tiniest little bit, you're running towards it. You worship that now. You have to have that now, right? And that's what a lot of people go on. So it's test of faith of, are you going to take this thing and fully worship it? Or are you going to see that and be like, maybe that's not a good idea? And that's what happens. And then people get put on that slippery path and cannot come back up the slippery path, right? Let's pick up in verse 21. It says, "Then I realized that my heart was bitter, and I was all torn up inside. I was so foolish and ignorant. I must have seemed like a senseless animal to you. Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, leading me to a glorious destiny. Whom have I in heaven but you? I desire you more than anything on earth. My health may fail, and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. Those who desert him will perish, for you destroy those who abandon you. But as for me, how good is it to be near God? I have made the sovereign Lord my shelter, and I will tell everyone about the wonderful things that you do." It's absolutely beautiful, right? Like it was like speaking directly to me. I felt like I was reading this and I was like, this was like written to me, right? That has my name somewhere on here, right? Like this was directed towards me. But it's wonderful how sometimes you can randomly just start reading the Bible and come upon things and like, wow, I needed this today. Like I needed to read this because this is what I was stuck in, And like I didn't know what to do. I needed an answer to this and I could not find an answer. And sometimes God leads you to this stuff just randomly, and you just get stuff like this and you're like, wow, this is crazy how directed this is towards me, And it happens a lot. One thing I did have written on the side that I don't know if I got it from this or I just randomly read it on here, but it is pretty good. And I think it has to do with the slippery path. Those people will get too into their emotions, right? So they'll start fearing, right? And they'll be like, oh no, this is going to happen. And they get stuck in the fear and they don't know where to go, right? And they use it and they guide their lives through fear. But what I wrote was emotions are gauges and not guides, right? So on these slippery paths, people will, like I said, get into too much fear and use it as a guide for their life. Make sure not to use it as a guide, not to use all that stuff as a guide. People will run to stuff for guides and look for something that guide their life for them instead of using what God gives you as gauges to lead your life through him, right? So God will give us these emotions to gauge what we need to do and to figure, and it's tests too. It's always tests, right? It all goes back to that. God will give us these emotions to see what we're going to do, right? So here's all this fear. Boom, throw it on you, right? Oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to use the fear as a gauge to be able to move forward through God, right? So it all comes back to that. But thank you guys so much for watching today, reading Psalm 73, and I'll see you guys in the next video.